Hey, what's going on guys? Mixuba here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a mono blue snow deck for standard best of one. So I'm a little sketched out on how this is going to actually go. I like mono blue, but it hasn't been very good in standard, and especially not in best of one, because aggression will kill you, and if you don't, like on the draw first of all is really rough, but if you don't have the right interaction at the right times, much like a control deck, you can just lose the game. And at least control decks have stuff like board wipes and removal. Mono blue pretty much relies on counterspells and bouncing your opponent's threats, which aren't as reliable as cards like, say, Heartless Act or Extinction Event or Eliminate. So when building a mono blue tempo deck, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, I really want to turn this into a Dimir control deck, but that would be a different deck. And I really want to branch out and try new things. So we're going to be testing out this mono blue snow deck, which basically tries to play a tempo game, get down a couple cheap flyers, and kill our opponent by taking a bunch of extra turns. So we'll get into the list. We are a snow deck, which, I mean, this sort of tempo list is cropped up here and there over the, last couple weeks. And they're always snow decks for different reasons. The first one is Ascendant Spirit. 1 mana 1/1, so like, standard rate. And then you can pump snow mana into it. First, it becomes a 2/3 for 2 snow mana. Then for 3 snow mana, it becomes a 4/4 flyer. Then afterwards, it becomes a 6/6 flyer. And then it gains whenever this creature does combat damage to a player, draw a card. So basically, it's way below rate. You're basically spending 4, 6, 7, 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer that draws a card, but it is a decent tempo card. It's something to do with your mana, and eventually getting it to the card draw place can be relevant. Anyways, pretty decent card, but the one that is much better for the deck is the Frost Augur. So this card basically says that you could pay 1 snow mana, tap it, look at the top card of your library. If it's a snow card, you reveal it and put it into your hand. So this card can get other Frost Augurs, Ascendant Spirit. You can grab Graven Lore and any snow land. So what's that? 26 plus, so that's 30, what? Ooh, 36 cards? Yeah, that you can hit off your Frost Augur, which is pretty solid. More than the 50% hit rate for 1 mana. So this is a really key glue card. It makes sure we hit our land drops, which is also why we have so many lands we want to curve out to in Epiphany. And it can also help get us Graven Lore to get even deeper into the deck. On 2 mana, we have just a bunch of interaction. 2/2/2 split between Negate, Lofty Denial, and Essence Scatter. Lofty Denial can sort of act as a Jory's Disruption without the land side, but if you have a flyer, which we have in the form of Brazen Borrower, potentially Ascendant Spirit, the birds, and a shark, then it's virtually a hard counter. I mean, pay 4, so it's going to be very difficult to get through. But on curve, you can basically just snipe people with a Lofty Denial and 2 negates, because it's good against aggro, or it's not amazing against aggro, but it can hit some key cards like Adventure, Halves of Creatures, Embercleave, Great Henge, freaking what's the Boros one? Showdown of the Skulls. Just a bunch of stuff to hit with negate. Against rogues can be relevant. Hits Drown in the Lock or counters Drown in the Lock, hits into the story, that type of thing. Negate's just really solid right now. Moving on to more hard counters. Saw It Coming literally just counters everything. You can foretell it on 2, which, I mean, is a little bit scary because you leave yourself open, but it's an option. I typically like to leave open 2 mana on 2 to either counter something, draw with the Augur, or interact via these cards, or, well, I think I said bounce something, but yeah, you guys get the idea. You can bounce with Brazen Borrower on 2. It's one of the ways to reset cards that we would have had to counter otherwise. Forces the opponent to use all their mana, and can be a nice 3/1 flyer, which the damage adds up, especially because you're typically not blocking with this. And once you take a couple extra turns after having a Brazen Borrower, you're in a, pretty good position to win the game. 2/2 split between Graven Lore and Behold the Multiverse. I'm not sure which one I like more. Behold is cheaper, and you can foretell it on 2 and then play it the next turn while also holding up counter magic, which is relevant. While Graven Lore is more expensive, but it gets you way deeper into the deck, and it's a snow card you can hit off the Frost Augur. So they each have their upsides and their downsides. I might switch the ratio as we get into the games and as I play more, but right now we're starting with a 2/2 split. Alrund's Epiphany, sort of the win con. The birds are actually relevant in this deck because we're trying to kill our opponent by taking a bunch of extra turns and making a bunch of cheap flyers. So Alrund's Epiphany, especially if you can change them on, is really relevant, and, a little bit scary to tap out for against counterspell decks, but aside from that, can be a pretty consistent card. and Shark Typhoon. We're hardly ever slamming this. We're pretty much just always going to cycle it for a shark. Hopefully you've cycled for at least one shark, maybe two, before you've cast an Epiphany to give yourself a wider air presence to be able to kill them faster with the Epiphany. 22 snowlands, no castles, no Fabled Passage. Well, obviously we're a monocolor deck, but basically no castles, because we want to be able to hit all our lands off the Frost Augur. And for Faceless Haven, it's another land that can kill our opponent. And again, you can hit it off the Frost Augur. So that's for the list, guys. It will be in the description down below, as always. If you like the deck, be sure to drop a like on the video and consider subscribing. It motivates me to make more content. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Let's get into some games. Alright, we start, and I'm pretty happy with this hand. We have no counter magic, but Frost Augur is such a huge part of the strategy. It gives us card advantage like every turn, or it tries to at least. So we're pretty happy to have it. And we'll see what the opponent's on. I mean, this hand is fine against both aggro and control. I think it might be a bit better against aggro. Okay, immediately looks like we're against control. So I think we just try to draw with the Augur. I think that's more important than foretelling Epiphany. Okay, Sultan. Valky. Okay. Sure. I mean, you can turn into a Brazen Borrower. That's fine. Let's try to draw. Do we hit Snow Permanent? We do. Very good. Saw it coming. Okay, so to hold open Saw it coming or to not. I think we hold everything open. I mean, okay. So I kind of always want to draw with the Augur. That leaves us with 2 mana. We might flash in Brazen Borrower, but then we're missing out on potential card advantage. Maybe I'm supposed to just foretell something and draw a card and take turn 3 off. Or Ascendant Spirit plus something else. I'm actually not sure here. Let's pass. I think I'm pretty happy if they do nothing. We bounce Valky and then draw a card with the Frost Augur. I also want to be very mana efficient because there's a lot to do with my mana. They can go for an attack, that's whatever. We can take 2. And they cultivate. We can counter that, but I think we have bigger problems. And by putting this back in their hand, it might give them a window to try to go for Tibalt, but we have Saw It coming. And hopefully we find more counter magic. If there was a snow counterspell, this card would be stupid. Especially in this deck. I don't know, maybe I was supposed to foretell something. I had a feeling they cultivate. But I pretty much always want to use this Augur. It's the way we stay in the game. It's the way we keep our cards topped up, even if we're not always drawing. And Valky Transform is holding priority right now. Also, weird how what seems like a Sultan Ultimatum deck isn't running Yorion as a companion. So, let's use the Augur. I take Snow-Covered Island. Let's go. I mean, it has the highest hit rate, right? And now we can Petty Theft the Valky. And finally, get rid of that pesky priority hold. Thank you. Borrower comes right back. Do I care to resolve another Augur? I don't think so. I think I'm okay with what I have. I pretty much just want to use 3 mana this turn. So how are we doing this? Probably use 3 mana to flash out Brazen Borrower. And then try to draw a card off the Augur. So what's more important right now? More cards or getting this online? It's actually a tough call. I know I really like cards. This thing got me like 2 cards. I think I have to start pressuring my opponent. I want them to get into a sort of Elrond's Epiphany loop. And I still have the option to draw the card off the Augur and use Brazen Borrower if that's the situation the opponent puts me in. They go for a Haven, that's fine. I can literally bounce that, that's pretty funny. And they go for a Migration Path. Alright, they're going all out on this ramp. So what's the plan? I can Frost Augur and make my Ascendant Spirit bigger. Or I can go for Brazen Borrower. They're both mana efficient. Honestly, I think we make this, I mean, no, because if they have a Heartless Act, it's very bad. We put a lot of mana into a creature that just got killed. So 5 lands, meaning we can foretell an Epiphany and still hold open Saw It Coming. Which is pretty good, or we can foretell a Saw It Coming, potentially use that Saw It Coming, and then use the Augur as well. Opponent's on 8 mana. We can't double Saw It Coming anyways, so I think we just foretell this. Poke at the opponent, hold the Augur back. So the opponent might have been able to set up Ultimatum plus Counterspell Protection, but it would require another blue source, and they don't have it. They go for Valky, okay. Sure. You gonna make that a Frost Augur? That's freaking funny. I don't know, I find it so amusing. Okay, no, they make it a Brazen Borrower. That's okay. They foretell. Honestly, it's probably an Oran's Epiphany. Could be a Behold. Beanstalk Giant. Sure. More ramp from the opponent. So they don't know if this is a Olrun's Epiphany or a Saw It Coming. They know we have both. I take another land here. We want to hit our land drop. Again, this is going to hold priority. Come on. Let me draw the card. Or attempt to draw the card. Olrun's Epiphany, nice. And we'll transform because we have nothing else to do with our mana. I don't think we're going to counter anything on end step for 3 mana. Alright, we get there. Now, how risky do I want to be? I can attack with the Brazen Borrower and the Spirit, and they can transform and block, but then we get our other Brazen Borrower back. Or, sorry, they can transform and block. I can also try to Frost Augur, draw a card, but then we're not holding up double counterspell. Let's start by attacking. I mean, we are if we hit a land, which is pretty likely. Let's attack here. I'll take the transform trade with Brazen Borrower, and they opt to do nothing, okay. I really do want to hit my land. It brings us closer to Epiphany, so I'm going to try this. Okay. That's pretty funny. So what we foretell? We know we're going to draw an Epiphany. Foretell other Saw It Coming. I think we foretell one Epiphany. And go from there. Now the opponent doesn't know what we foretold. I kind of like that they do that. And we only get to hold open one Saw It Coming, but we only would have gotten to hold open one anyways. And they still don't have the second blue source. So if they go for, there's the, third blue source, and there it is. Alright, well, we're going to try to counter this. If I lose this game, it was because I was greedy and went for a land drop instead of holding open double Saw It Coming. Ouch. Yeah. And they had it. They had it. I figured they wouldn't have untapped blue into Saw It Coming. But what do I know? For Massacre Worm? That's nice. That's some nice technology. So what we give them... What do we give them? I don't want to give them the worm... But I really don't want to give them the extra turn, so I guess we give them the worm and the Valky. Yeah, it's not great. They're still at 11. And we're going to be able to keep the Spirit. So we'll see where we actually end up going from here. We could still just lose. That's a very real possibility. So do you plus or do you minus? Yeah, easy minus. Alright. I'm dumb and greedy. God, and we don't even hit... It's just so bad. Okay, I can still technically hit a train of Ulrun's Epiphanies. Then we don't lose. Right now I'm taking 6. I'm taking 10. I'm at 1 potentially. Does that mean I can't even play this Frost Augur? I'm gonna foretell another Epiphany. I'm gonna bank my entire game plan on topping a land. Because if we top a land, we can go for triple Epiphany, which is kind of funny. And we're gonna hold open, saw it coming. We'll see if we hit the land or not. I don't even know if triple Epiphany can kill them. And I don't really want to do the math. And they exile 2. There's the land that we so desperately needed. It actually would have been there. Alright, so we'll see if we're going to lose. We don't play the Augur because if they kill it, we take 2 damage. And then we just lose. Beanstalk Giant. Let's try to fight. We'll see if they have another counterspell. I mean, I'm pretty sure Brazen Borrower just holds priority from here. They cultivate. It leaves open blue, which I don't like. And we top the land. Alright. Do you have a counterspell? No, you don't. Okay. Face. Play out the Augur. Make more birds. My turn again. Face. Oh my god, did we actually clear this? Guys, I think we won. Tell me that's not the most degenerative win you've ever seen. And we still have the Sot coming protection. Oh, that's it. We freaking cleared it. I can't believe that. So, triple Ulrun's Epiphany does win games. I played way too greedy, trying to hit my land drop, but I did, like, I think it was a decent risk to take because they would need Blue Source and Counterspell, which they did have. So I guess maybe it wasn't worth taking, but hey, we actually managed to close, which normally people just scoop after an ultimatum, but after you have 3 Ulrun's Epiphanies in your hand and almost all the mana to cast them, like, stick it out for a little bit. Okay, no counterspells, but double Frost Augur. Behold. I think this is fine. It's not amazing, but it's like fine. We have some stuff to do on 1 at least, and some stuff to do on 2. And sadly, the Frost Augur doesn't draw us cards. Okay, Charger, nice. Epiphany. Lots of options here. I think we go for the Spirit. Hold open Augur draw. And pass. Just increase the board state. Just have a really, really nice big board state. Shock, nice. Let's see if we can hit a land. Negate, okay. Still not horrible. Yeah, I'll take this block. It might seem loose, but the more board presence my opponent has, the more likely they are to be able to do something with it, like cleave. So, do I hold open negate? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to give me anything to negate. So we probably just foretell this. Not the Epiphany. Not yet, at least. Because I think they're going to go for, like, Annex here. Or Phoenix of Ash. Alright, same energy. Counterspell, nice. I can try to hit land off the Frost Augur. I think we do that. Let's go. Easy. And now we can hold open, saw it coming, and behold. Feels good. If we missed, I would have beheld there. We can take another hit from this Phoenix. That's fine. Robber. Robber. I think Robber gets countered. I don't think we take the Robbers. I don't think they have another one. I think it would have been played sooner. Okay, sure. I guess I just look like an idiot. I guess we foretell this now. Try to hit it next turn. Now we can hold open, drawing off Augur, negate, and behold. Opponent might pump Crawling Barons here. They do nothing. No blocks. If you cleave me, I negate it. Ouch. Let's behold. I probably should have augured first, seen if I hit land. Scorching Dragonfire me. Alright, in response, I Frost Augur. Not punished. Okay, we find a spirit. Brazen Borrower and Graven Lore. We really do need land. I don't think we take the... I mean, we need a way to get ahead too. Jeez. But if we're drawing cards or we're just getting beaten, that's not exactly good. I think we take the Borrower and not the Lore. Alright, there's land. Perfect. So, Olrun's Epiphany, make some birds. Decent blocker, take yet another turn. Okay, second Faceless Haven is nice, and we can get down a Ascendant Spirit. Okay, so we're kind of stabilizing. Now Gravenlore looks really good. Or not like really good, but it looks better than it did. Okay. Please whiff. They hit their own Frost Augur, that's actually fine. So how are we blocking? Are we animating a Faceless Haven? I don't think so. I think we block like this. I think this is fine. It might cleave me. They can reanimate the bird, which is unfortunate. Let's try to do this. Okay. Resolves. Rimrock Knight. Negate. Or bounce. If I negate it, it kills the knight. So let's go for that. And I still have Brazen Borrower for the cleave, potentially. Bone Crusher Giant. Okay, so how am I doing this? Giant resolves, negate happens. Now, I mean, I don't have the rest of the snow mana. I can trade here, or I can bounce the robber, and then I actually get to keep this. I think that's the plan. I know it seems weird, but I think keeping this spirit alive is important. Maybe I'm overvaluing my spirit. We'll see. It can become a flying blocker at instant speed. Opponent goes for the Frost Augur. Ooh, we actually hit an Epiphany. That's really good. Or is it even that good? It makes more birds. And maybe gives us some more mana. Do I want to take a turn off before casting it? I actually might. Opponent has 5 mana. They can pretty much only play one thing. I can make this pretty big. I can go 3 mana here, plus 4 mana. I could put all my mana into this. Or maybe Brazen Borrower. I don't think I cast this. I think I wait a turn. I think I'm a bit more patient. Okay. Plus the opponent's Crawling Barrens is pretty much empty. If they top deck Cleave, like it is what it is, they top land. Alright, that's good. That means they can go for Phoenix plus Robber. But we still have the Brazen Borrower. Actually, we can just make this bigger. Close game, guys. Close game. Becomes base, power toughness, 4/4. Gets a flying counter. Alright. Could have foretold this to make sure Robber didn't proc. Let's see how they attack. No attacks. Give me that. And Brazen Borrower or make this thing freaking huge. I think we just make this thing freaking huge. But if I go for this, then I can... Yeah, alright. We'll make this thing huge. Land. Get in there with the Spirit. Give me a card. Essence Scatter. Not amazing, but it's like okay. Let's make some birds. Good game. Opponent scoops. I don't actually think it's GG's from there. We're not out of the woods just yet. We're in a pretty good spot though. We have blockers, we have Essence Scatter for any future creature. I think they can still top Cleave and win, but it also depends on what our next draw is. But yeah, I do think pumping all our mana into that Spirit was the right call. It just gives us card advantage over the extra turns, and I think waiting on that Alon's Epiphany was definitely correct. Alright guys, and we are back, and oh my god, this deck is so stressful for me to play. I typically rely on control decks with a lot of removal to get through aggro matchups, and I feel really confident going into them. In best of one, it's absolutely terrifying to play a deck with no removal in the best of one queue, knowing you're not going to be as aggressive as them, and having this sort of alternate weird tempo game plan. That being said, this deck is extremely fun, alright? I don't think I'd taken it to ranked, it's not the most competitive deck, but it has a plan, and that plan is degenerative, and it's fucking fun. So if you like that kind of thing, counter opponent spells, draw some cards, and take as many turns as you freaking want to, then this deck is 100% for you. Frostaugur is literally the GOAT. It makes me very sad when it misses. It's kind of like draw a card, but not really. Ascendant Spirit, I actually had a really low bar for that card going into the deck. Going into the games, deck, whatever, however you want to put it. But that thing clutched up. Like, I have yet to turn it into a 6/6, and I actually did today on video, so that's pretty cool. Alon's Epiphany, actual MVP card. You guys saw that game where I freaking cast 3 in one game and it won me the match, won me the game. Behold the Multiverse, Graven Lore. I actually think Graven Lore might be better, purely because you can fetch it off Frostaugur, but I do see the value in Behold for telling it on 2 and then casting it sometimes, holding up 3 mana, which is typically useful because a lot of your stuff costs 3. I don't know. I always felt like I wanted as much mana as I could possibly get because there's so much to be doing with it and so much to potentially hold up. So this deck's very much so a headache to play, but it is a lot of fun. So again, will be in the description down below as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.